The made assembly constraints define a relationship between two selected items. Constraining parts in an assembly also limits or disables the freedom of movement within an assembly. When the mate constraint is applied to two planar surfaces, they will be oriented in opposite directions to each other. The items that may be used with mate assembly constraints are linear faces, linear edges, planes, and axes. Typically, three constraints are needed to fully define or constrain a part, but in many cases parts need to move. A piston needs to move up and down, so it should never be fully constrained, otherwise it would not move at all. Here's a demonstration of the mate constraint being applied to the cylinder head cover and an engine. The quick constraint mode is located here. First, select the item to be moved, then select the stationary object. Two edges have been selected for the first constraint. That takes care of 1 degree of freedom. Two mating surfaces are selected, which eliminates the second degree of freedom. The flip button is used to flip from align to mate. The angle button is also very useful for creating assembly constraints at specified angles. Finish up by aligning the end of the cover with the surface that will be flush with the end of the cover. The remaining third degree of freedom has now been constrained. Both parts are locked together. Reference geometry may also be used to assist in the same process just shown. The end surface on the cover is aligned with a plane that is coincident with the surface of the engine to constrain the first degree of freedom. A mate constraint is applied to the two mating surfaces to constrain the second degree of freedom. And a common edge is selected to constrain the third degree of freedom. The offset feature provides a means to constrain parts together, but with a specified distance between them. All of the constraints created are found in the constraint listing in the Design Explorer. All of these constraints can be modified. Left-clicking on the list expander, the plus symbol, shows the parts involved in the constraint. Right-clicking on the parts listed opens a small menu of parameters and related functions that can be added or changed on the individual parts. Right-clicking on the constraint name opens a small menu of items pertaining to the constraint and its contents. The Edit selection provides a means to make changes to an existing constraint. To create an offset of 4 inches between the engine and the cover, change the offset value from 0 to 4 and click on OK or press Enter on the keyboard.